Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into something incredibly common, something that might be silently impacting your health, yet is often, well, deeply misunderstood. Many of you might recognize this picture. Generalized aches, pains that just don't quit, maybe unrelenting fatigue, that chronic tiredness, sleep all messed up, and even what feels like a mental pain or just deep exhaustion. It's that frustrating loop, isn't it? Chasing diagnoses, trying treatments, and feeling like something crucial is just being missed. So here's the mystery we're tackling today. What if the answer isn't really out there, but actually inside our own cells?
Exactly. We're following the breadcrumbs today to uncover, well, an expert in camouflage. A silent presence, often overlooked, the Epstein-Barr virus, or EBV. Now, the virus itself, while complex, its basic operation isn't super complicated. But, and this is key, when it combines with certain life circumstances, that's when things can get really complicated. And what's striking is it's rarely tested for. Even if you do get a positive test, its actual significance, often ignored.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to unpack what EBV actually is, how it manages to be this master of disguise, why it flies under the radar so often, and crucially, what its implications are. Because they're far-reaching. We're talking links to serious conditions, multiple sclerosis, lupus, even some cancers, and also, a whole range of these ghost diseases. Those conditions where you feel awful, the symptoms are real, debilitating even, but tests come back normal, no clear diagnosis. And then the really surprising bit, the flip side. How this same virus, for most of us, isn't just an enemy. It might actually play a positive role, a kind of co-evolutionary thing for our health. Okay, this camouflaged enemy, it sounds really elusive. Let's dig into those symptoms again, the ones that drive people absolutely nuts trying to get answers. That feeling of just aching all over, extreme fatigue, chronic tiredness that sleep just doesn't touch, weird intestinal issues popping up, joint pain, muscle pain, moving around, and that overwhelming mental fog or pain. It's just unbearable for so many. It's this constant search, right? For answers that just don't seem to come.
Yeah, and what's fascinating really is how it hides its strategy. EBV basically tucks itself away inside our own B lymphocytes.
Our immune cells, the ones meant to protect us.
Precisely. It uses our own defense system as like a hideout. And it stays quiet, silent, cautious, only really emerging when the immune system is out of whack or weakened, this expert in camouflage thing. That's why it's so tough to detect. Doctors often just don't order the specific tests. And even when they do, and it's positive, the significance, well, it's often downplayed or just not fully connected to the symptoms.
And it's important we talk about the potential serious stuff. The implications our sources mention, not to scare anyone, obviously, but just to be informed. Its connection to things like MS, lupus, certain cancers, it really makes you think about its significant role in lots of illnesses, including those ghost diseases we mentioned earlier.
But now let's talk about the B side, the surprising good side of EBV. This really challenges the idea that all viruses are inherently bad. If our own bodies or physiology has evolved to basically host EBV, well, that strongly suggests there's some kind of co-evolutionary benefit going on. And get this statistic. Over 90% of the world's population carries Epstein-Barr.
90%, that's huge.
Huge. Yet way less than 10% of people actually know they have it.
Okay, that is fascinating. If almost all of us have it, what's its purpose then? Could it really have a beneficial role?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the thinking is yes. When your immune system is balanced, your body might actually use EBV. Maybe it helps regulate the microbiome, keeps it in check. Maybe it subtly trains the immune system, helps it stay sharp. It might even, work for us sometimes, maybe competing against other worse pathogens. Think of it like a long-term tenant in your body. If the landlord, your immune system, keeps things running smoothly, the tenant might actually help out around the house.
Wow, that completely flips the script on how we usually think about viruses.
Nice.
And that links up perfectly with how it spreads, right? The common transmission, everyone knows it as the kissing disease saliva. But it's also skin contact, sharing forks, cups, stuff like that.
Right, which just shows how easily you can pick it up, often way back in childhood.
Yeah.
And then it just stays with us for our whole lives, potentially. So the issue isn't always the virus itself being there. It's when that balance, that equilibrium, gets lost. That's when EBV can become a problem, triggering that whole cascade of confusing symptoms people struggle with.
And our sources really emphasize a strong link between EBV and conditions like fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. They describe these specific, sometimes baffling symptoms people with fibromyalgia report: widespread pain, shifting around, that deep chronic fatigue, extreme exhaustion even after sleeping, really disturbed sleep patterns, uncontrolled gut inflammation, maybe triggered by foods that were fine before, irritability, sometimes aggressive moods, insomnia, and that awful feeling of waking up more tired.
And you can add other things to that list, symptoms that often just get labeled unexplained,
Huh?
like recurrent infections, maybe UTIs, throat infections, but the tests, blood, urine, they come back normal, frustratingly normal.
Right.
People might have a persistent low-grade fever or just feel hot, hyperthermia, a chronic sore throat, maybe lots of mucus, new allergies cropping up, and definitely gastrointestinal stuff, diarrhea, constipation, or bouncing between the two. The source even notes the irony. Sometimes people get tested for HIV in these situations, while EBV just gets completely missed.
So that's the big question then, right? If it's so common and usually dormant, what flips the switch? What wakes it up after potentially decades and makes it cause all this trouble? What's the main trigger for it starting to replicate and for our immune system to react so strongly?
The answer, and this is really crucial, seems to be persistent stress,
Wow.
chronic stress. Now, look, stress itself isn't bad. It's a natural physiological response. We need it for resilience, for evolution. It's our alarm system.
The fight or flight thing.
Exactly. But when it's chronic, when it's sustained day after day, it just depletes our body's resources. Think of your body's energy and resources like a bank account. Acute stress is like a necessary withdrawal for an emergency. Chronic stress, that's like constantly overdrawing your account. It leads to erratic, exaggerated responses from your systems. And at that point, when your resources are low and your system is unbalanced, EBV can start to, well, make a mess.
Okay. And it gets even trickier, doesn't it? Because EBV doesn't necessarily act alone.
That's absolutely right. EBV can sort of potentiate or team up with other viruses it has an affinity for. Things like chickenpox virus, cytomegalovirus, herpes zoster, shingles, simple herpes, cold sores, genital herpes, even dengue virus. When these combine forces, the overall impact can be much, much worse than just one infection on its own. So it really highlights how vital a strong, balanced immune system is, not just for EBV, but for keeping all sorts of viruses and bacteria in check.
Right. So, okay, what does this all mean for us then? If this virus is so common, maybe even a lifelong thing for many, how do we manage it? How do we stop it from, like the source says, shooting us in the foot by making our own immune system go haywire?
Well, yeah, complete elimination. That might be tough. And honestly, maybe not even the main goal. The aim is more like gently showing it the exit door, or at least encouraging it to stay hidden, stay dormant, appear as little as possible. And the key to that is really optimal energy control and regulation in the body. Plus, of course, maintaining that balanced immune response. It's about creating an environment where the virus just prefers to lay low.
That makes a lot of sense. So our sources point to some core strategies, some pillars for managing EBV, starting with number 1, stress management. Controlling chronic stress is absolutely paramount for immune balance. But then there's this really intriguing idea you mentioned, the power of doing nothing. Explain that more.
It sounds counterintuitive, maybe, but it's incredibly powerful. Intentionally doing nothing, meaning being silent, no screens, finding genuine peace and quiet. That's actually the only way to truly recharge your energy at a deep level. It allows your immune system, your mind, to gain clarity. It lets your body's own regulatory systems, homeostatic, metabolic, physiological, electrical, recalibrate themselves.
So it's not just zoning out.
Not at all. It's active restoration. When you consciously choose to do nothing, your body is actually doing so much more than you think on a physical and physiological level. That's where the deep repair happens.
That's a really important perspective shift. Okay, what about the thyroid connection? That seems key for energy.
Yes, absolutely. EBV seems to have a direct impact on the thyroid gland and its hormones. And the thyroid is basically the body's energy regulator, right? So when EBV messes with the thyroid, it can trigger autoimmune responses like Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Or it can lead to hyposet or hyperthyroidism, and that directly hits your overall energy levels, your metabolism, and, critically, your immune system's capacity. It's a major factor in that EBV-related fatigue.
Okay, so managing stress, embracing doing nothing, supporting the thyroid, huge. What about nutrition? Conscious eating.
Nutrition is definitely a cornerstone. The source talks about this food or toxin philosophy. Basically, you look at your plate and consciously ask, is this nourishing me or is this actually taxing my body? And then you make the choice. Choose real whole foods. Avoid processed stuff, things you know are toxic for you, even if it means, deciding not to eat something you already bought. Specific foods mentioned as helpful, kind of antiviral or antibiotic, garlic, onion, ginger, green tea, pretty standard immune boosters. And crucially, healthy fats. Extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, ghee, avocado, these are vital energy sources. They also seem to help improve how the body handles viral and bacterial issues. Surprisingly, the source even includes bacon in this category.
Bacon, really?
Yeah, as an example of a healthy fat if it's sourced well and eaten in moderation. It highlights that healthy fats are crucial and shouldn't be feared. They provide sustained energy.
Okay, bacon certainly catches the eye there. Can you elaborate just a bit more on why these healthy fats are so important for dealing with something like EBV?
Sure. Well, healthy fats provide a really clean, sustained energy source for your cells. That's vital when your body's dealing with a chronic viral presence. They help stabilize your blood sugar, which reduces stress on the system. They help lower inflammation, and they're essential for building healthy cell membranes. A strong cell membrane means better cellular function overall, including your immune cells. So they're not just calories, they're structural components and signaling molecules that support that deep physiological work your body needs to do to keep EBV under control.
Got it. Okay, and exercise. Is it good to push hard
And
or...
for people who are actively symptomatic with EBV, intense exercise like HIIT training, that can actually backfire. It can overstress the metabolic system, potentially even triggering more viral activity. So the recommendation is more towards moderate, enjoyable exercise.
Something that feels good?
Exactly. Something you actually like doing that feels restorative, not depleting. And obviously, the other lifestyle basics are still super important. Good quality sleep, getting out in nature, some sensible sun exposure. It all adds up to support that immune balance. Now, beyond those lifestyle foundations, are there specific tools, maybe supplements, that can give the immune system an extra hand? The source does mention some specific supplements aiming to kind of boost elimination, or as we said, show the virus the door. For stress and energy regulation, adaptogens like ashwagandha can be really helpful, often taken morning and night. If ashwagandha makes someone drowsy, rhodiola is mentioned as an alternative. Melatonin, too, not just for sleep, but it's a powerful antioxidant, helps with stress reduction and that nightly repair process. But a really key one mentioned is L-lysine.
Lysine. Okay, that sounds important. Walk us through how that works specifically against EBV.
Right, so L-lysine is an essential amino acid. Our body can't make it. We have to get it from food or supplements. And it acts as an antagonist, basically. It competes with another amino acid called arginine. Now, EBV, and actually the whole herpes virus family it belongs to, relies really heavily on arginine. It's like a key building block it needs to replicate. It's almost like its fuel source.
Oh.
So by
Yeah.
increasing your L-lysine intake, the source suggests around 1,000 to 3,000 milligrams. Maybe for 6 months to a year, you're essentially crowding out the arginine. You make it harder for the virus to get the fuel it needs to multiply and stay active. It helps to gently push it back towards dormancy, kind of suffocating its replication, reducing the viral load. And then, yeah, zinc and vitamin C are mentioned too as general immune system allies, supporting overall function.
So pulling this all together, this deep dive really shows us that Epstein-Barr virus is, well, incredibly common. It's this camouflage thing hanging out in our bodies. But our lifestyle choices, especially managing that chronic stress, actually embracing rest, that doing nothing, and eating consciously, these are really powerful ways to keep it in check.
Exactly. Complete elimination might not be realistic or even the main point,
Mm.
but empowering your own immune system to manage it effectively, that is absolutely within your reach. And having this understanding, this knowledge, it can genuinely help you regain control over those chronic, baffling symptoms that might have left you feeling lost for a long time.
So here's a thought to leave you with. Knowing that over 90% of us carry this virus, and knowing that stress can be a major trigger, what one small, intentional shift could you make in your daily routine starting today to fortify your immune system? Maybe it's finding 5 minutes to truly do nothing. How does knowing this information change how you think about unexplained fatigue or pain, either for yourself or someone you know?